The following contains some intense scenes. Viewer discretion is advised.
We live in a world where heroism is praised. However, it is rarely executed. We even can become bystanders in today's society, recording violence while violence occurs. However, fighters like Kevin Holland and Air Force veteran Spencer Stone chose to not be victims and not allow violence to occur, all while using only mainly Jiu-Jitsu. And yeah, I'm not talking about the legendary BJJ butt scooter edition. So who is Spencer Stone? Spencer Stone is your run-of-the-mill average Air Force veteran who happened to be a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a somewhat athletic man who lost weight to join the Air Force. He didn't qualify for the Army, but made it into the Air Force. Him and his buddies decided to backpack through Europe, traveling multiple European countries, partying it up and sightseeing. They were having a good time until they caught a terrorist on the train. This terrorist had a plan to shoot the whole place up. Luckily, Spencer Stone and his two buddies were on the train, as along with several helpful bystanders that helped lessen the impact of this ISIS member.
We passed through Brussels, and that's when the terrorist gets on board, and his name is Ayoub El-Kazani. He was a part of ISIS, and he was actually also connected to the Bataclan theater attack where they killed over 100 people at that rock concert. He was connected to the Belgium airport bombing. And so, just terrible, a real bad guy. Yeah, real bad guy. He comes on the train. He's got an AK-47, 300 rounds of ammunition, a 9mm pistol, a box cutter, hammer, and lighter fluid.
How did he bring an AK-47 onto a train?
At the time, there was no metal detectors, nothing. You get on that train with whatever you have in your bag. No one's checking anything.
So it was in like a duffel bag?
It was in a roller bag and a backpack.
Okay.
So he goes into the bathroom, and right outside our train car. And each train car is connected by a corridor with like luggage and a bathroom.
Now, is there cameras on the train, or do you memorize? Like, is this your memory?
This is all of my memory.
Okay.
And if they have cameras, they never released it to us.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'll tell you why. That's probably for the reason for that. But so he's in that area, which is closed off to the general public, right? It's more of a confined space. And he's in the bathroom getting pumped up. He's watching like extremist videos on his cell phone. Bathroom waiting to go. One by the name of Mark McGallion, who ended up pretty much saving my life. I consider him my hero. And then another French banker, we call him Damien. It's his alias. He doesn't want to be having his name out there because he lives in Paris. So Ayoub comes out of the bathroom, shirtless, backpack strapped to the front of him, holding the AK, like ready to rock. And Damien basically lunges at him, grabs him by his throat. Mark ripped the AK-47 out of his hands. And then Mark is American born. He was born in Virginia, but moved to Paris when he was like 18, with like $400 in his pocket. And he gets the gun. He's like, hasn't really held an assault rifle before. He's like, let me just get it away from him, which was smart. And he runs into our train car with it. And the terrorist pulled out the 9mm. And what I believe happened, he dropped the magazine out of the pistol. So then he only had one round left in the chamber. But I don't think he knew that. And he shoots Mark. The bullet, goes in his upper left shoulder, bounces around his rib cage, broke 2 ribs, collapsed his left lung, and then came out of his neck and severed his carotid artery. So he's like gushing blood, And I was asleep. I had like Bose noise canceling headphones on. I'm listening to a little Anthony Hamilton. You know what I'm saying? Like drinking my wine, and.
So you didn't even hear it?
I didn't hear it. I didn't even know what was going on. But what woke me up was a train employee that saw what was happening, and he ran in the other direction. And so he goes by. I'm sitting like this, and my friend Alec is sitting to the left of me, and then the aisle is to my right, and then across the aisle is a single seat with my friend Anthony sitting. And so he runs by, and it's like, that kind of bumps my shoulder, and I'm like, I look at him like, why is he running like that? And then I take my headphones off, and first thing I hear is glass breaking, people screaming. I turn around, and I see Ayoub, the terrorist, coming in, and then picking up the AK-47 where Mark dropped it. And I just see and just loads around into the chamber, and I'm just like, holy shit. Like, it was just clear as day.
How
this
far
is a
away
terrorist. He's like 30 feet from me, so I had some distance to cover.
Far but close, yeah.
Far but close, exactly. And so pretty much I'm like looking down the aisle, and I'm like kind of, you know, I thought maybe he jammed it or something like that. He just hadn't started shooting yet. And my buddy Alec kind of hits me on the shoulder, and he's like, go, Spencer. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, me?
Yeah,
like, oh shit, I gotta go. But I'm like, oh, you're in the action
Why
scene.
did he tell you to go? Why didn't he go?
Yeah, I'm next to the aisle.
Oh,
you gotta get
God.
up first, man. But it was good.
And you had
I was kind of
literally
going
a
anyway.
split second to react. Like,
Split second
am I
decision?
gonna sit and hide behind my chair, or am I gonna go try to do something?
Exactly. And you know what? It's
What
when
made you
put
go?
Just that I had no other option. And I felt like there was this force that just like catapulted me out of my seat, which I believe is God. And you know, but you put yourself in that situation. You're going 200 miles an hour roughly on this train in the middle of the countryside. There's nowhere to go. He's got an automatic AK.
Mm-hmm.
You're either gonna sit there and wait to get shot, executed, or you're gonna do something. And to me, in my opinion, I'm like, well, I'm gonna at least go out in a blaze of glory.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, hopefully my family knows I went out fighting.
Right.
And so I get up and I'm running at him. He raises the rifle at me. Turns out nothing was wrong with it, no malfunction, nothing. But then he pulls the trigger, and it was a bad primer. And if anyone listening to the podcast doesn't know what a primer is, it's what basically ignites the gunpowder in the casing of the bullet and propels the bullet out you and shoots you. So that was a dud. Click. Doesn't go off.
Does the bullet not just jams?
It's just like he pulls the trigger and just nothing happens.
Okay. But the bullet's still there.
So in order for him to get the gun working, the bullet's still in the chamber, he would have to cock it back again.
Okay.
And then load a new round into it.
Okay.
So click, it doesn't go off.
And is he pointed at you?
I'm the only person standing up, and he points directly at me. So
it doesn't fire.
I would have been the first one, to get shot, besides Mark. And but it doesn't go off, thank God. And I run down the aisle, and you know, I pretty much like closed my eyes, or I blacked out, because I'm just like still expecting to get lit up at this point. And I make it to him. I'm like, oh shit, I made it to him. And but then he smacks me in the face with the gun, basically like just bitch slaps me with the AK.
Yeah.
And so I can't see anything out of my left side of my face, my blind eye, my left eye, and bleeding everywhere already. And you know, luckily I've been training jiu-jitsu for like the past year at that point in Portugal, and a little bit before that too. I always dabbled in it throughout my whole life. And so I'm on the ground with him, and I'm just like, you know, because that was another piece of confidence that told me inside that if I could make it to him, I know I could do something. Like if I could just get up in this guy's face, where I could postpone him. You know, well, it's one thing to tackle someone, but all right, you tackle him and you're face to face with him. What are you gonna do next?
Yeah, you gotta beat him up.
So it's like, I had jiu-jitsu to rely on.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm basically trying to reach for the AK. I feel him, you know, ripping it away from me. We both stand up. He drops it. I take his back, I put him in a rear naked choke, and then pretty much slam myself and him against the side of the train. And now we're stuck in between this table and these two chairs.
Where's everyone else during this? Watching?
Everyone else is watching. Yeah, I mean, frozen, you know, in fear. And you know what, at that point, there wasn't enough room for really much of anyone else to get involved.
And when you took off, where's your boy?
They're behind me. They're coming.
Oh, coming. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Alec told me to go, but then he honestly took a minute to get down.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I would too.
yeah. But no, he still came up though, and you know, but I'm holding the terrorist, trying to choke him out, but I don't have the choke all the way in. You know, it's just
Is he fighting you back?
crazy, panicky. He's fighting me back, but he pulls out the pistol that he just shot Mark with. And he reaches back like this because I'm on his back.
Right.
So he has to reach back, and I feel the muzzle of the pistol go against my head, and I'm just like, oh shit! Like I'm just getting my brain's blown out right now. It's over, and click, doesn't go off because he had dropped the magazine and there was nothing left in it.
So this guy shot 2 shots at you.
2 shots at me,
and both of them didn't have. Like, one was a dud.
One was a dud, and that one was empty. But he thought it was loaded.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so my buddy, pretty much right as that happens, my friend Alec runs up, rips the pistol out of his hands, and then starts to hit him in the face with the pistol. And then I'm thinking, like, you know, that's all the weapons he's got. And then I feel this like burn on the back of my neck, and I look over, and my thumb is like hanging like halfway off, and I can see my bone and everything. And I'm like, what the hell? I just looked at my thumb. I was like, how the fuck did that happen?
You didn't feel it?
Didn't feel it, just the adrenaline and everything. And I look over his shoulder, because right I'm on his back, and I see him holding like a 6-inch box cutter blade, and him just like swinging it around. He's like started cutting up my arm to get me to let go of him. And turns out he was reaching back like this as well, and basically trying to slit my throat. And so I had 2 like long slashes on the back of my neck. And so as soon as I see the knife though, I scream like, hey, he's got a knife, get him off me. I say that a couple of times, and then I kicked him off me. And then we're pretty much surrounding him at this point. And he had dropped the knife, and it was like the first time that nobody had a weapon in their hands. And so like we kind of like looked at each other and we're like, oh,
beat
shit.
The fuck out of him.
Just beat the fuck out of him. Do whatever you can. So I just started swinging, you know, and then we're all beating on him. And then he's either pushed or shoved into me. I pretty much used his momentum to throw him over his table. And then now me, Alec, and Anthony are all putting our weight on his back, but he's still struggling. You know, like this guy's like, he's not stopping.
Yeah, he's not giving up.
Yeah, so my friend Alec takes the pistol, tells him, hey, stop resisting. He was an infantryman in the army, so he had just actually gotten off a 9-month deployment in Afghanistan. Nothing happened, and then we go on vacation and this happens. Yeah. And so he puts it to his head, cocks it back.
Was it loaded?
We thought it was loaded. So like we were like, oh, we're about to shoot this guy. And we're like, hey, stop moving. My buddy clicked.
Was it a lot more intense than that?
It was a lot. Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you want me to scream, you know. But you know, I'm like, hey, stop, motherfucker, stop moving. You know, like we're ready to kill him. No, at this point, you know, he's not saying anything.
And he just was by himself.
Lone attack. And thank God. And
so your friend actually fired the gun.
He put it to his head, and then we said, stop moving, stop resisting. And then we, you know, gave him a second or two, and then click, didn't go off. Then we were like, oh shit, like it's just not loaded, cock it back. And he cocked it back again, same thing. He's like, stop, and then click, didn't go off.
So there's just no bullets.
So that's when he looked and he's like, oh, it's empty. And then so he just threw it, and that's when I just said fuck it, and I threw him in another rear naked choke. Did the same thing, slammed myself against the other side of the train, and then got the choke in and choked him unconscious. And I'm telling you, man, I was seeing red. I was no problem. I wanted to kill him. Like I was so ready. Like I wouldn't even recognize myself in that moment though.
Right.
Because a killer be killed. And I'm like, you just sliced my thumb off. You just, I don't know what you just did to my neck.
Tried to kill
I'm just like, I'm gonna kill you,
people.
motherfucker. You know, I'm pissed off. I'm just totally seeing red. And you just, tried to kill everyone here. And so I'm pretty much choking him, and he'd gone limp for about a minute.
So he was unconscious.
He was unconscious, yeah, for about a minute after, and I held the choke, so I was just gonna choke him until he was brain dead. And what stopped me...
Were you thinking this at the time? Or were you just like, I'm not stopping at anything?
I was thinking at this time, like, I'm going to kill him 100%.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, my friends scream out, like, hey, this guy's been hit. And I look over the seats, and I see Mark stand up from underneath the seat, because he had kind of like crawled underneath and played dead, essentially. And he gets up, and I just see the blood gushing out of his neck.
So he got his main artery in his neck?
So he's been bleeding out this entire time. Already lost a lot of blood.
How long did this whole process take?
The whole fight in real time was probably max 2 minutes.
And what did it feel like?
15 minutes.
Oh, it felt longer.
It felt way longer. Yeah. But I see him, and I'm like, okay, like, today's your lucky day, dude. Like I'm a medic. Like I hold this guy down, like I'm gonna go over here. So I go over there, and I take my shirt off, and I was used that as like a bandage to put against his neck and hold pressure with. But I was like, oh shit, it's his artery, you know. And like I said, I'd been working at a pediatric clinic,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So like I had never seen anything like this, like this type of trauma. And I'm like trained for it, but I've never seen it.
Right.
And it's true.
And you just almost got killed by a terrorist, and you have no thumb.
Yeah, basically. And you know, just casual day, bro.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of things
it's a light
going
day.
On. You're like, when's this gonna end?
Yeah. And so, I see that like his neck is like pumping blood. So I'm like, oh, that's his artery. Like this is gonna do nothing but like basically be a sponge.
Yeah.
And so I stuck my fingers with the hand. like
Your blood.
thumb is halfway off he had a hole in his neck, and so I stuck my fingers in the hole. Then I could feel the artery kind of like pulsating around in there, and then I just found it, clamped it, and the blood flow just completely stopped. And then we held that position for like 30 minutes until we got to the next train station. Yeah.
And he survived.
Eddie survived. He's alive. We're like best friends. We travel together, go on trips and things like that. We've been back to Amsterdam. He's super chill. He's like very hippie guy, but I love him to death. We're forever bonded. This
is the most insane story, and I have so many other questions that I want.
My God, I can stay as long as you want. Yeah.
We then have Kevin Holland, who prevented a mass shooting at a sushi spot, give his account.
Yo, they was tripping in this Pat, bro. It was tripping tonight. They got in a shootout in this bitch.
You know, we're at the sushi spot. We're chilling, having a good time. I finally got my uncle out with our thing. Having a good old meal, you know. I finished my food. I usually finish for a party behind us, birthday party. So when I heard the bang originally, I'm like, all right, that's a champagne bottle. You know what I mean? I'm thinking my glass is breaking. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, that's not a champagne bottle. That's a gunshot. I go to turn to see the people that was in front of me. They're down low. They're getting down. My uncle's getting up like he's about to run. I grab him by the shirt, pull him down. I'm like, yo, chill. I look to the side. It was kind of like an island right there. As I look to the side, the guy's holding the guy with the gun, you know, and the gun's pointing just directly towards the back of the spot, right where we're sitting at and everything. And I'm like, all right, well, that guy's safe, but we're not. So, you know, instead of going around the right side of the bar, I go around the left side of the bar, which, you know, there's a long island in between there. So as I'm running down, I pick up a chair. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use this chair. This chair's going to come in handy. Grab the chair. I hit the corner. As soon as I hit the corner, you know, they're still wrestling. At this point in time, the guy's kind of like a little more spaced out. You know, it's like the shooter's getting back in a little bit of motion. But the guy still has a good grip on the gun, you know, and he's holding the hammer. You know what I mean? That's probably the best thing he did was hold the hammer. So it's like I get over there. I'm trying to make out who the two guys are. So I put the chair down just to make sure I don't hit the wrong person with the chair, you know. Right. Realize who the shooter is. Help ply the gun out. First, we aim the gun down, you know, because I'm like, this is probably be a better situation instead of pointing towards the back. But then as it's aiming down, I'm like, yo, we're upstairs. What if somebody's downstairs? So then I hit it towards the island, and then we hit it up top like this. At this point in time, the guy, I noticed his wrist is starting to jam up a little bit. Punch the wrist. I pull the fucker back, put him in a rear naked choke, sit him in the lap. I choking him. My uncle's sitting there, and I call him Herb. At this point in time, I'm calling him Herb Dean with the dreads out the back. Skinny Herb Dean, you know, he's in there, he's watching. And he's like, he's not out. He's not out. He's not out. And then he grabs the guy on the guy's limp. He's like, all right, he's out. Roll over, get on top, throw the backpack out. You know, the guy wakes to, you know, hold him by the back of the head, let him know, man, you move again, I'm about to smack you. I'm gonna hit you really hard, bro. You might want to just chill out. He's like, yes, sir. So at this point in time, you know, he's probably trying to like come to. He's like, all right.